I'm feeling a little froggy today, so I thought I'd switch things up with the cartoon videos. Plus, I don't feel like doing a worst episode of right now because while I try to add a little positivity in these videos by still praising the show, I am highlighting the worst episode of it, which is inherently a negative thing. So instead, I might as well try to recreate past success and look at how a show ended and why it worked. Because hey, anyone can write the beginning of a story, but it's really hard to end a story in a satisfying way. D&D subverted our expectations with the Game of Thrones ending, and people still argue about Lost's ending, so why not celebrate the shows that end well? And what better way to start off than by looking at a show that ended beautifully in my opinion, King of the Hill. So let's get into it. The final episode, both in release order and production order, was To Sirloin with Love. And it sent off the characters in a way that felt real and warm. So, what actually happened in the episode? It starts off simple enough. Hank and Bobby have to bond because Peggy's off doing some Peggy stuff. Hank kinda hates this because he feels he doesn't have anything in common with Bobby, his son. And this is something that's been a through line for the relationship the entire duration of the show. Bobby is young and impressionable, so he tries out a lot of things, none of which interest or excite Hank. A lot of the times, this is to show how Hank is accepting of other people, even if he doesn't necessarily agree with them. But here it's not a matter of accepting others, it's more not being able to talk to each other due to a lack of common interest. He asks his friends for something they can do, and he settles for dinner at a steakhouse. Here, we, along with Hank, find out Bobby has a talent for identifying different cuts of meat to a staggering degree. And he does it like it's nothing. This impresses some teacher of meat science, and this guy invites Bobby to compete as part of the meat examination team, which obviously is a wet dream for Hank. Bobby meets his team, and if I'm being honest, they're a little weird. And sure, Bobby's weird, but they're older, so it's not really fun anymore. At the competition, Bobby pops off until he makes a single mistake and loses the complete trust of his team. Which is bullspit, but I digress. This is a substantial event because Bobby is pretty down seeing as he got knocked down a peg. It's something that usually happens to him throughout the show, but this time it's different. When Hank gives him advice, Bobby takes it in and actually gains a lot from it. Enough to go back to the team to give it his all, even if they don't really want it. A lot of the time when Hank gives advice, it's from his own experiences, and while it's usually good advice, it doesn't really click for Bobby because there's a disconnect between them. This is especially the case as Bobby gets older. But finally, it feels like a bridge is being built between them, and they're starting to understand each other better. And it's all thanks to meat, which makes perfect sense. After that, Bobby goes to dinner with his team to prep, and that's when he realizes that not only are they human trash cans, they're psychopathic ones to boot. They refuse to eat meat to keep their palates clean or something stupid like that. When they see their rivals, they commit a misdemeanor by way of red pepper flakes. Like any normal, sane person, Bobby quits the team. Well, the first step would have been to call the cops, but hey, maybe someone did. Anyway, Hank is hurt by Bobby's decision and desperately tries to get him to stay on the team. He even pleads about how close they were, alluding to what everyone knows, that this is their best bet at finally bonding. Hank reverts to his old ways and naturally assumes Bobby's a quitter, spitefully chooses to go with the team to the competition, despite how Bobby feels. I mean, Bobby should have led the conversation with how the team physically assaulted another team in attempts to blind them, but I'll choose to believe that Bobby didn't want to escalate the situation. When Hank leaves, Bobby finds out that good old dad bought him a mini grill so they could grill together. And Peggy tells him about how much this venture means to Hank because it means they finally have something in common. And that's all he's wanted in life. Of course, this inspires Bobby, and he heads to the competition with Peggy, finding out that his team isn't there. Meanwhile, Hank's bus gets hijacked by the rival school, and they're kind of stuck until Bill, Dale, and Boomhauer see them, having blindly followed the bus. On their way to the competition, Hank realizes what Bobby already knew about the team and stews in it. And back to the competition, Bobby once again performs spectacularly and single-handedly makes it to the final. And being stand-up comrades as they are, the rest of the team arrives and immediately marginalize Bobby and almost throw the whole thing. From this, we get a really touching moment between Hank and Bobby where Hank tells Bobby to stand up for himself and be confident, which in turn leads him to win the competition. And if you're keeping score at home, that means he literally won the whole final by himself. But hey, you shouldn't be surprised, Bobby is extremely talented. The final scene of the show is set as father and son stand side by side grilling steaks. The smell of delicious steak permeates through the neighborhood, and as they're drawn to the house, we get one last send-off for everyone. Con gives Connie a break from homework, seeing how ahead she is in school, showing their whole family has learned how to live in the present occasionally. Dale helps relieve Nancy of her headaches, which, if you watch the show, is pretty substantial. I always saw it as Nancy truly letting go of her burden and being happy with Dale. Lucky and Luann are playing with their baby. You find out what Boomhauer does for a living, and Bill is Bill. At least he seems happy enough. Bobby remarks about how they're on their last steak, but Hank tells him he'll be grilling for his whole life, as if to say these characters will live on even after the credits roll. The perfect sentiment for a show that has such authentic and grounded characters. The neighborhood characters all go through some growth, big or small, because that's how it is in life, especially when there's a support system like the one in Arlen. King of the Hill wanted to leave us off knowing that the characters would be okay, because they each have each other. An interesting note is that John Redcorn isn't there, and I think that's growth too. He's doing his own thing, and isn't tethered by his son and a former love, a place of personal growth he desperately needed to reach. This episode is a culmination of everything leading up to it, not in any storyline, but in character development. Even Peggy stays pretty subdued in this episode, which must have been hard for her. Had to take the shot. And with all that said, this really was a fantastic way to end a cartoon, with a nice, yep. So what did you think of the video? Have any thoughts on the finale? Because if you do, let me know in the comments. I read all of them. And if you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe because it helps out a ton. But before you taste the meat and not the heat, have a good day.